Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all alright. I am really not very happy because it is September and we are heading into a heat wave. Like, what part of autumn does Mother Nature not understand? I'm going to apologise if I sound a bit funny or if I'm talking a bit strange. I have got a huge ulcer growing on the inside of my mouth, and every time I talk it is rubbing up against my tooth and it's doing my head in, and no amount of salt water seems to be getting rid of this bad boy, so I'm really not having a great time right now. You all loved my last baby names video so much that when I put it out on Instagram whether or not I should do an autumn inspired baby name, so many of you were like yes, 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 yes. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Maybe we could make it like a seasonal thing, I don't know. I never thought, given the fact that my channel started talking about infertility, I never thought I would be sat here doing baby name videos. I really like doing them. I think despite the fact that, you know, infertile and all that, everybody has their baby names picked out, don't they? Like, everyone knows what they're going to pick, and I just really like looking at them. Like, sometimes it'll be late at night and I'll think, I'm going to Google some baby names, and that's exactly what I do. I've chosen 10 girl names, 10 boy names, so it won't be the longest video in the world, but I'll explain my rationale behind them, and I hope you really like them. So grab your cup of tea, get your cardigans on, get all nice and cozy, and let's talk through some baby names. So I'm going to start with the girls because, you know, girl power. So the very first name that I have chosen as an autumn baby name, while my dog is barking in the background, is obviously Autumn. What I didn't know until I started planning this video was that autumn actually replaced the word harvest in the 16th century. Like, I had no idea, but I found that quite interesting. So this season, obviously, at some point was just called harvest rather than autumn. So I presume you would have spring, summer, harvest, winter, and then, yeah, autumn came into play. I think it's a really lovely name. I think it's a really nice word. I do really like it. But then I'm pretty sure that my psycho ex-boyfriend has named his child Autumn. So, yeah, that's very swiftly crossed off the list. The next one is Orla. So Orla quite literally means golden princesses. So autumn, when you think of autumn, you think of the reds, the yellows, the gold. And I think as much as obviously the sun is golden and it makes you think of summer, I think those golden crisp leaves, like everything about autumn is gold. So Orla for me, I think is a really, really, really nice name to pick for a girl during autumn. I think it's also really, really feminine. Like, I really think it's such a lovely name. The next one I've picked is Ruby. So I do really, really like the name Ruby. And again, I'm going to keep saying really, really the whole way through this video, just like I did the last time I filmed a baby name video. Ruby obviously means red. You've got the ruby red, red ruby, whichever way you want to look at it. But I think it's a really, really pretty name. Again, it's colour related, but I think everything in autumn is colour related. Like, autumn just makes you think of all the colours in the world, and it's just lovely. That is if you don't mind people singing Ruby, 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 Ruby for the rest of your child's life. The next one I'm picking is Ember. So first of all, it resembles my name, so, you know, obviously it's a winner. But when you think of Ember, you think of the embers of the fire, and that to me makes me think of bonfire night, which, close to Halloween, is probably the best night of autumn and the most autumnal night of them all. So Embers for me, I think, is such a pretty name. The next one I'm going for is Willow. So willow trees, I think, are so, so beautiful. They really are. And if you've ever seen a willow tree in autumn, you'll see why I think it's a great name for this time of year. But just all in all, I think it's such a pretty girl name. I feel like it is really feminine. It's got that kind of hippie vibe to it. Like, I do really, really like it. I think it's great. So top choice if you're naming your child Willow. The next one, again, slightly hippie, I suppose, but is Rain. Now, I'd never even thought of this as a name. I think it's a little bit too out there for me personally, but I think it's a gorgeous name, and I think if you've got the courage to do that and name it, I say courage like it's a really bold decision, but I think it is quite a bold name. So yeah, I think if that kind of fits in with your vibe, if they're the type of people that you are, then I think Rain is absolutely stunning. And I think obviously autumn, winter is when, you know, the heavens usually open and we have a really rainy season, but I think it's beautiful. A lot of people spell it with an E on the end. You can spell it with or without. It can also be a boy's name as far as I'm concerned, but I really, really like that name. I think it's quite hippie, it's unique. I'm here for it. The next name is Hazel, so reminiscent of a hazelnut tree. Like, how does it not make you think of hazelnuts and hazelnut latte and sitting in front of the fire, being all nice and cozy on an autumn evening? You just can't beat it. So Hazel for me, I think, is a great girl's name. The next on my list is Sorrel. So Sorrel is a name that it's French, and it derives from the words, I think it quite literally means like reddish brown or reddish orange or something like that. But I think it's a really, really pretty name. So little inside story for you. My friend who has just had her baby boy, she called him Romeo in the end, but Sorrel was actually a name that years and years and years ago, when we would sit and, you know, just talk about baby names, because we, you know, that's what girls do. We would sit and talk about baby names, and Sorrel was a girl's name that she really liked back in the day. And I always really loved that name. I think she kind of vetoed it in the end, even before they knew what they were having, but I really like it, and I think it's a great name. I think it's very autumnal. So the next one is Luna. So Luna translates to moon. And obviously we have moons all throughout the year. We have the full moons, but in the autumn we have the harvest moon, which traditionally kind of signals obviously the beginning of harvest and signals to all the farmers that it's time to harvest all their crop. And it signals obviously the days are getting shorter and the autumn really is starting. So I think Luna is really lovely for that reason. Autumn is also the time of year where you spend your days inside under the blanket with a cup of hot chocolate, binge watching Harry Potter. So for all those Harry Potter fans out there, Luna's bang on. So the next name is a name that I really love. Like, I can't tell you how much I love this name. I love it so much that I actually toyed with not including it in this video in case any of you tried to steal it. But obviously, you know, I don't own the rights to a name. And it's also not like 100% decided, but it's definitely one that I would shortlist, but one again that me and Marco do disagree on, but one that I do really like. So the next name is Aurelia. Now for a lot of you, you're probably going to think Aurelia, but that's Love Actually. That's the name of the girl that Colin Firth marries. And so, you know, Love Actually, Christmas, where does autumn come into this? Aurelia actually comes from the Latin family name Aurelius. So that Aurelius translates to gold, so that's kind of where it comes from. And again, like I said earlier, autumn gold, I kind of correlate the two together, and I think it's so lovely. I think it's such an elegant name. I really like it. I think it's Portuguese, Aurelia itself. I think it's a Portuguese name. I'm not entirely sure, but I do really like it. I think it's just gorgeous. So now we're on to the boys. So I've got 10 names for the boys. Again, there's quite a woodland theme in here. I think, you know, autumn does make you think of just outdoors, doesn't it? So the very first name is Forrest, but Forrest with a double R, like Forrest Gump. And let's be honest, if Forrest Gump isn't enough for you to love the name Forrest, then I'm sorry, but what is wrong with you? Best film ever. But Forest on its own, I think if autumn doesn't make you think of like long, crisp walks outside in the woodlands, in the forests, then, you know, I think there's something wrong with you. Sorry, hun. So Forest for me is a top contender for a boy's name in autumn. The next boy's name is Oakley. So Oakley, I think, is a really lovely name all year round. I think it's such a strong name, but I'm pretty sure it quite literally means the clearing of oak trees. And again, woodland trees, autumn, it just kind of all falls together for me, but Oakley I think is a really nice name. So the next name is Adam. Now Adam quite literally means the red earth, and that is why I've kind of picked that, because I think again the red, the colours, it all correlates in with autumn. But I think years ago, if you'd have said to me that I was really liking names like Adam or Josh or Jack, I'd have just thought, no, like they're so simple, they're almost boring. But actually the older I get, the more I really like these traditional names, and I actually think simple names like Adam and Jack and Josh are really lovely. So yeah, Adam is one that I think if we were naming our children English names, I'd love to call my kid Adam. I think it's such a nice name. I went to school with quite a lot of Adams actually, but yeah, I think it's a lovely name. And while we're on the simple names of Adam, Josh and Jack, the next name on my list is Jack, as in Jack-o'-lantern, as in Halloween. But interesting fact for you, I always thought jack-o'-lantern was an American thing. I did not realise that jack-o'-lanterns was an Irish thing, and it actually came from Ireland. So you learn something new every day, don't you? And let's be honest, if I was going to choose the English word for it, or whatever you want to call it, the name that I call jack-o'-lanterns is pumpkins. And let's be honest, I'm sorry, and I'm really sorry if you have done, but I'm not calling my child Pumpkin unless it's a pet name. Here, Pumpkin. Imagine being like 40 years old and going for a job interview, or like becoming partner in a law firm or something like that, and your name being Pumpkin. I mean, come on. So the next name on my list is Rowan. So Rowan is a tree that grows really, really tiny, like little red berries, and it's so autumnal, it's almost sickening. So Rowan, I think, without a doubt, Rowan. Autumnal name, definitely. No doubt about it. The next name I've picked is Hunter. So Hunter, I think, is a really strong name again. And whether you agree with it or not, like, we won't get into this debate, Huns. But hunting is obviously a lot more prominent around this time of year. So I think the name kind of suits with autumn, winter, this time of year. But I think political opinions aside, I think it's a really, really cute name. I really like it. I think it's lovely. Although I can't imagine someone called Hunter growing up and wearing anything other than a wax jacket, hunter welly boots and a flat cap. Like, that's it. That is how I imagine Hunter. The next name is Lennox. So Lennox is a Scottish name and I really like it. I think it's really nice. It also, you know, Annie Lennox, and I'm sorry, but if you don't love Annie Lennox, then what's wrong with you? My mum used to listen to Annie Lennox all the time, and I just love it. No more I love yous. It's beautiful, just beautiful. As is my singing voice. But yeah, I really like it. Lennox also kind of resembles, I can't think what it is. I think it's an elm tree. It is, yeah. I don't know how, but Lennox relates to elm trees. I don't know how, but that's what I read. And there you go, so I've put 2 and 2 together and Lennox is here on my list. But I do think it's a really lovely name. Anything to do with trees and being outdoors this time of year, I adore. The next one is Perry. So I really like Perry, and I think it's not a name that you hear very often at all anymore. Like, ever. I don't ever hear anybody considering calling their child Perry. I think I've only actually ever met one Perry in my entire life. But Perry is a pear tree. And pears make me think of cider, and cider is very autumnal. I mean, apple cider is more autumnal than pear cider, but unless you're Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin, are you going to call your kid Apple? I mean, maybe, but Perry, I like Perry. Perry's better. Let's go with Perry. So the next name is again relating to colour. The next name is Rory. Now, for some reason, when I say the name Rory, I sound very Jonathan Ross like Jonathan Ross, like Rory. I seem to really struggle to get the R's out my mouth. And I don't really know why, but I do. Rory means Red King. So the red equals autumn, which is obviously why I've picked it on this list. But it is quite a popular name all year round. But for autumnal purposes, for the purpose of this list, we are going with Rory the Red King, who is the Autumn King. And last but not least, the final name on my list for boys is Radley. So Radley quite literally means red meadow, and I don't know how many times I need to say it, but red equals autumn. So for me, it's perfect. I think it's a really cute little name. I mean, I'm not sure about the fact that they would shorten it to Rad. That sounds a bit American and says that's rad, man. I don't know. That was a really horrific accent. I'm really sorry if you're American. I've just insulted you no end. But I think it's really cute. I think it will age well. So yeah, I think that's quite a nice name. So there you go. There are 20 names for you, autumn inspired. Let me know if you had any other ideas in the comment box below. I'd love to hear your different names because, like I say, #1 hobby. That I'm looking at houses on Rightmove. That's all I ever do. Rightmove all the time. Always looking at houses I can't afford, but why not? It's just fun to do. So let me know any names that you really like. If you did like this video, make sure that you do give it a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to my channel. I upload every Tuesday and every Friday. But thanks for watching, and I will see you on Sunday. Actually, I'm doing an upload for you on Sunday morning because I missed last Friday. So I'll see you on Sunday morning, and then I'll see you again on Tuesday. But thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Love you all.